less stress, more time, more money. Welcome to the Cashflow Contractor, short with Khalil bin Haj.
What's up, Cashflow Contractors? Khalil here with another short to help you find less stress, more time, and more money. I get this question from contractors all the time when we're talking about their marketing. The conversation inevitably comes up where we're talking about their website, and they're curious what needs to be on there, what could be better about their website, what they're missing out on. And usually there's a lot that they're missing out on. So the goal of this whole short is to help you get a good idea of what needs to be on your website, something that you can listen to, then go look at your website, or even look at your website while you're listening to this to give you an idea of how you're doing and give yourself a grade on it. Maybe you find out that you're doing an excellent job, that you're excelling. Maybe you find out, hey, I need to probably do something different with my website. Maybe it's time for a refresh, a redesign, or for my web guy to go in there and make some changes. So I'm going to break this down into two sections. There's going to be one, we're going to talk about the pages. What pages are absolute necessities on your website? And then we can go through some extras. The next thing we'll talk about are features. What features do I need to have on my website? What are the musts? What are the extras? I'll cover some of the features as I go through the pages because it'll make sense, but I'll cover them at the end to make sure we get through them in a clear manner. So here we go. Pages. What pages should you have on your website? It's 2020, almost 2021. Everybody knows what a website is and has a good idea of the flow of how a website works. So obviously you need a homepage. What's really important about your homepage is that it really summarizes everything that's on your website pretty well, that you don't talk about yourself too much. It's not about you, it's actually about your customer. So you should talk like your customer and talk about what they care about on the homepage of your website. I like to break it down into 4 different P's. The first P, purpose. What is the purpose of your company, the purpose of your product or service? Why am I here on your website? The process, how do you do what you do? How easy is it for me to use you as my contractor? The proof is the third P. How do I know that you're a good contractor? Show me some work, show me some testimonials. And then the last P, potential. What is the potential that I can have if I work with you as my contractor? What am I going to achieve by using you as a contractor? Those, if you can do those on the homepage of your website, you're going to do extremely well. And it's really going to set you apart from other contractors, especially if you can get that potential down, because not a lot of people talk about that. The next page that I want to talk about is very common. It's an about page. I like to call it a why your company name page. So if you're Carl's Concrete, why Carl's Concrete would be the page. But it's your about page. And really, this shouldn't, you can tell your story if you want to. If you've been around for 4 generations, sure, that's great. But that's not really what customers want to know about. They want to know, why do you do what you do? They want to know why I should choose you. And they want to know how you're qualified to help them solve their problems better than anyone else that's out there. That's what they want to know. They don't really care. We don't need to have a 2-page letter typed out about your company story. That's cool. And maybe you can have that somewhere on your website, but it shouldn't be the first thing you see on the about page. On the about page, they want to know, why should I use you? What's different about you? What's unique? How are you different? How are you qualified? And even put testimonials on there about your company, and maybe from employees. Show your employees. That's a good thing to show who you are with some pictures. So that's the about page. On the next one, our work. I don't see enough of this on contractors' websites, and this is probably the most important page on your website if you're a contractor. The Our Work page should have at least 3 projects on it. And ideally, if you're doing different lines of work, like let's say you're doing residential work and commercial work, you would have 3 projects for each of those lines of work. And it's really important that you have photos for each of those projects. But you also, if you can go a step beyond, you can put the challenge of that project. Why were you doing this project in the first place? The goal of that project. Talk about why, or what you were hoping to accomplish, what your customer or your client was hoping to accomplish through this project, and then talk about the process of how you went from the initial meeting and what you did to turn things around and really build a beautiful kitchen or pool or whatever it is, what that process was like, how long it took, and then just talk about the end product, the solution. Give a testimonial from the customer, what they're able to do with their new space today or whatever it is that you solved. If you can put all of that into text, that's a really good case study, not just a project, but a case study. And that's something that's really going to go a long way, especially if you can get that testimonial in there. Now that's something that you can not only use on your website, but in all of your marketing. And we'll talk about that more in a little bit. So we have 3 pages so far: the home page, the about page, the our work page. The next one is the product and service page. And this is actually something that I recommend doing for each of your product or services. Now, if you have 25 products and services, that's probably too much. You're either a massive company or you're trying to do too much in general as a contractor. So I recommend that you make it turn into a category of your products and services. But let's just say that you're doing pools. Maybe you do pool builds and then you do pool maintenance. You would have a maintenance page and a new pool builds page, new construction page. And then on each of those pages, you need to have a few things. You need to have the pains that customers typically have with your product or service. So if it's pools, maybe it's pool maintenance. Maybe the pain is that they don't want to have to get out and put the chemicals in and keep track of everything and worry about the mess and worry about cleaning up the leaves and having to balance things and worrying about the pump, all these different pains that they have. You want to talk about those and address them. You want to talk about the features of this service. The features are really, hey, we're going to clean once a week. We're going to test your chemicals. We're going to, look at your pump. Those are all different features of the product or service. Then you want to talk about the benefits, right? So the benefits are what the feature provides the customer with. Because I'm coming once a week, the benefit is you never have to worry about your pool being safe for the kids. Because I'm coming once a week and looking at the pump, you're never going to have a surprise expense for buying a new pump because we're maintaining it weekly or monthly or whatever it is, right? Those are the benefits to the customer. Then you want to talk about your process. How do you do these things? We come on a regular schedule. We go through our checklist. We leave you with a checklist that has our signature on it so that you can save it for your records. And then we send automatic reminders of when you need to do anything and when we're going to be coming out. That's our process, right? You want to give testimonials just like you did on the homepage, but specifically for this product or service. And then you want to give example projects. And that's where you're linking to your Our Work page and some of the case studies. So a really good product service page is really helpful, especially as you go and do other marketing, like you post onto social media or you run ads on Google or ads on social media. You're able to point directly to the product or service that you want to advertise instead of just your homepage. The next pages that are really important are pretty generic across the board, but they really do matter. I call them info pages, and there's several of them. Contact us, FAQs, testimonials. Those are all great info pages that I think are musts on website, but they're just not as glamorous as some of the other ones, and definitely not as hard of work as some of the other ones. So I call them info pages and kind of leave that as a side note. Other than that, you also absolutely need landing pages for specific offers. So if somebody's trying to schedule an appointment with you or get a free quote, there needs to be a separate page with a specific form to what that offer is. So if they're asking for a quote, there needs to be something about the size of their pool or whatever is specific to your product or service that you provide. As a contractor, there needs to be a form specific to what you need to know to be able to give them an accurate quote. So definitely have a landing page for each of the different offers that you have. Offer being a quote, estimate, a inspection, schedule a meeting or an appointment, anything like that they're going to fill out a form for. There needs to be a landing page. So Those are the musts. Now there's some extras, we could go on forever on extras, but the specific ones that I want to get to are really around content. Those are more so with marketing. If you're going to be running ads, these are really helpful. So, and this is what we do as an agency at Benali for contractors, is we help them with these extras to really help them with their marketing. But I'm going to go through three. The first one is articles. Articles are super helpful for answering customer questions, for showing up on search engines like Google. They're great for sending to customers as educational resources and emails. Maybe if you just had a conversation with someone, it's a really great tool for sales to be able to point them to an article that addresses a concern they have or a question they had during the sales process. So articles are really great tools on your website to educate customers and to also set you apart from others. The next thing is downloads or tools, whatever you want to call it. But this is ebooks, guides, catalogs, infographics, checklists, even calculators. These are all great tools or downloads that can drive inbound leads for you. As soon as somebody decides they want to download the guide to maintaining your pool, now they're doing their research with you. Now they trust you because of that, but also they filled in a form to be able to get that guide. And now that's a lead for you. You've got their contact information. You can give them a call. You can add them to your newsletter, your email list. And this is a really great tool for building an audience over time. You're going to collect emails. You're going to have them in your CRM that you can market to over time, that you can do research with, and that you can grab referrals from as well. The next one that is really going to set people apart is video. It's just a hard thing to replicate. If you can have a videos page, or even as just a feature on some of the pages of your website, have some videos. That's more of a feature, but it sets you apart, and it's hard to replicate the videos. There's a barrier to entry because there's a time and a cost investment into the videos themselves. Not every contractor is going to go do that. And if you're able to go and get a great video testimonial showing your work, interviewing the family, it really goes a long way with future customers. And that's hard to replicate. It gives the people a better feel for what you do. It brings your work, your processes, and your company to life for people when they can watch the video. So those three things: articles, downloads, videos. Those are great pages to have on your website because it's able to answer questions and build a better relationship with your customer outside of you jumping on the phone or showing up to their house or their business to answer their questions. They're going to be able to do that themselves, which people enjoy doing research on their own through your website. Now I want to jump into some features. As we talked about all these different pages, these kind of go throughout a website, and there's some musts. So the musts, and I don't see this enough with contractors, but you have to have professional photos. So much of what you do as a contractor is visual. You remodel a house, you build a new house, you build a new pool, or you remodel the kitchen. That is a visual thing for people. They're not going to know what your work looks like until they can see a picture of it or they show up in person and see it. They can hear you talk about it all day, but if they don't see a clear representation of it, then they don't get it. And if you're going to be showing people your work, you don't want to show them a picture that you took on a cell phone in the wrong orientation, in portrait mode, not landscape, and so it doesn't look good on the website as a banner photo and all these different things. But go get a professional photographer, set up a deal where they go and they photograph 5 jobs a month for you, and they'll be happy to take on that work, and you can even set up a deal on pricing. But get those professional photos. It's going to help your website look incredible and stand out. It's also going to help you with your marketing as you run ads and as you do things on social media. It's okay to use the cell phone photos for certain things on social, but definitely for your website and your ads, get some professional photos. I like to talk about that one a lot because I don't see enough of it. All right, some other features that are musts. Have really clear and concise, simple writing on your website, the text, the copy. Don't be Netflix. Don't have a million different options and don't have so much information that people can't digest it and they get overwhelmed. Make it really clear. Just make it simple. You don't need to explain every little thing to them. Only talk about what matters to the customer. You also want to have really clear calls to action, direct calls to actions like get a quote now, or a transitional call to action like talk to an expert or download our free guide. Those are really important to have on your website, because if you don't have those and people want to take action, it's really hard for them to do that. Just put your phone number on a button. That's a call to action. Testimonials. Get testimonials, get proof. People love seeing that. And it'll be really helpful to speak in your customer's language. That's what they see, that a real customer has talked about you and it resonates with them, and that's what they want. A testimonial is a great thing to have on your website. Make your navigation simple is the next one. Don't have, all of these drop downs that have 20 pages on them or have 10 links across the top with 2 different buttons. It gets super complicated. You see massive corporations doing things like that, and it just doesn't make sense. Just do really simple 5 pages, 6 pages max at the top, and then you can link to other things throughout the rest of it. Next one, make sure that your forms are super easy to use. Don't make them too long unless it warrants it. If you're asking for a quote and quotes take you 30 minutes to build or 2 hours to build, yeah, ask for a lot of information. But if you're asking to sign up for their newsletter, don't make it 5 properties that they need to fill out. But make the forms really easy to use and really clear to see. The next thing, links to give people ways to contact you is, I guess, the next thing that's a must. I said links to social on here, but there's other things. Just getting the phone number in a clear, visible spot, giving your email to people, putting your address on there with even a Google Map function. Really easy forms to fill out to contact you. All those different ways, give multiple ways for people to contact you, and that'll go a really long way. There's a lot of extras that we can get on there. Really things that, if they are extras, they usually take a little bit more time, but a chat function is really helpful for some customers. It doesn't make sense for some contractors because they're maybe too small, or their type of client won't use that. But if it makes sense for you, put the chat function on there and make sure that you monitor it accurately. If you don't have enough time to monitor the chat function, it's not worth it, because you're just going to make people upset for trying to reach out and not getting a hold of anybody. A quote tool is really helpful for people. It takes a little bit more time to develop, but that can be really powerful in generating leads and giving people answers to the questions they have. If you can't do a quote tool, a cheaper option and easier to build option is a pricing page, or just pricing on the website. I know a lot of contractors are hesitant to that because their pricing is so custom or just tailored to specific needs. But if you can do it, I can guarantee you it'll be one of the most visited pages or most viewed functions of your website. Other things that you can consider are really not necessary, but they're extras and they go into really big details. So if you do have a lot of variants to your products or services, or maybe you're a vendor for a specific product and you're the only contractor in the state that has that product, you can make a page for that. If you really want to go into detail on your process without overwhelming people on the homepage or on a specific product service page, you can make our process page for each of your product or services and link to it from those pages that goes really into detail. But many of these extra pages are going to be more detailed. But for the most part, people, when they visit a website, they're visiting usually just one page. So your homepage really is important. And extra features that you can include on your website are really going to be just kind of what I would call plugins, but things that aren't totally necessary. So you can have a link to Google reviews as an extra. You can have a 5-star rating on your website to show that people love you. You can link to other platforms like maybe Home Advisor or BuildZoom or Porch. You can have your accreditations across the bottom or on your contact page. There's a lot of different features that you can have, but for the most part, the biggest ones, if you can just write clearly, give calls to actions, have really beautiful photos on your website, a simple and easy to navigate website, those are the features that really just go a long way. So We've covered a lot of different things, the pages, the features that are musts and extras. If you have questions about this, I'd love to answer them. We are actually providing a website audit to contractors these days. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can find that in the show notes. Otherwise, I hope that this has been helpful. We'll probably cover more website topics as deep dives. I know this one has gone pretty long, but we'll cover that with Martin here in the future and maybe even show you some example websites. So appreciate your time. Hope that you guys are finding less stress, more time, and more money.
Thanks for listening to The Cashflow Contractor. Check out our website in the show notes or visit thecashflowcontractor.com.
What's up, Cashflow Contractors? Khalil here. Thank you so much for getting to the end of this episode. It means the world to us that you're listening. I've got a favor to ask. So we are looking for contractors who would like to have a free consult with myself and with Martin for about 30 minutes to an hour. We'll basically just ask you questions about your business, about what it's like for you to work as a contractor, and then we will answer any of your questions specific to your business. Then we'll make that a live episode for other contractors to learn from, to engage with. And we think it's a great way for people to really see clear, specific answers to problems that contractors have. So if that interests you at all, we're not going to share any of your information. You don't even need to say your name on the episode, but I think we want to get some more of these episodes out there. And if you're willing to do that, we've got a link in the show notes that allows you to just submit a form for a consult. Then we'll schedule it with you and record it, and we'll put you live on the podcast. So if that interests you, please check it out in the show notes. If not, no worries. Or if you know someone else that you think would be interested in it, send it to them. That'd be great. But appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, we hope that you're finding less stress, more time, and more money. Thanks.